Hello and welcome back to the channel. On today's tutorial I'll be sharing with you how I made this simple wrap top with a balloon sleeve. So if it's your first time viewing my channel, please hit on the subscribe button, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for always supporting my channel. So let's start. So this is the fabric I have here, and it's about 2 yards, and I'm going to be making use of my French curve, my ruler, my tailor's chalk and my tape. So the first thing I did was just to cut out the right amount I need, and I went ahead to mark ½ inch on top because I'll be using that as my starting line. I will also cut out my back pattern before cutting out my front pattern. So after doing that, the next thing you're going to do is to get the total length of your top. So the total length of my top is 17 inches, and I added 1 inch for folding allowance, so which is my shoulder to waist. So the next thing I'm going to do is to mark my shoulder divided by 2, and I'll be attaching half because I'm going to attach a sleeve to this dress, and I'll come down by 1 inch. So from that point, I'm going to go ahead and draw a straight line or a slopey line down to my shoulder line. So I'm just going to place my tape and I'll connect down to my shoulder line. So the next step I'll take is to mark out my neckline, and I'm using 3 inches by 1.5 inches. So I don't want my neck at the back, the neckline, to be so close, so I'm using 1.5 inches, and I'm just going to connect it. After doing that, the next step is to place my tape, and I'm going to get my chest line, which is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches, and I'll just go ahead to draw a line at that point to indicate my chest line this way. So the next step I'm going to take is just to go ahead and I will measure my shoulder to bust line, shoulder to waist line, and shoulder to under bust line, and I'll just go ahead to mark it all out. So I forgot to mark my shoulder to bust line. I'll go ahead, place my tape, and I'm going to mark my shoulder to bust line, which is 9 inches, and I'll place my ruler and I will mark it out at that point. So after marking out, here I have a shoulder to bust line, shoulder to under bust, and shoulder to waistline. So on this pattern, I'm not making use of my shoulder to under bust. I just did that to indicate. So I'll just go ahead and divide what I have at my chest line into 2 this way, and I'm going to come out by ½ inch. So from that point, I'm going to mark my bust circumference divided by 4, which will serve as a guide, and I'll go ahead to connect it back and then connect it to the upper part of my shoulder. So this is what I have after I'm done drawing out my armhole curve. So the next step I'm going to take is to mark my measurements. At the bust line, I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4, add 1.5 inch sewing allowance. At the under bust, I'm not going to insert any measurement there, and I'll go down to my waist, mark my waist circumference divided by 4, and I'll mark my 1.5 inch sewing allowance. So next thing I'll do is to connect from my bust down to my under bust. So after this, the next step is just to cut out your pattern, and with that our back pattern is ready. At the upper part, I'm just going to go ahead and add ½ inch at the shoulder part. That will be serving as the joining allowance, and that is why I left the ½ inch. So after that, our back pattern is ready, and we are moving over to the front pattern. So for the front pattern, I'm going to go ahead and measure my waist circumference divided by 4, and I'm going to make a mark all through. So the reason why we are doing this is the part that will be serving as the wrap of the dress. So after that, I'm going to go ahead and draw a straight line. So remember, I marked my waist circumference divided by 4. So after that, I'll take my back pattern and I'll place on the front pattern, and I'll go ahead to hold it down with my pin. So right now, the next thing we are going to do from here is to mark out the wrap of this dress, And to do that, so for the neckline of the front, I will be using 6 inches. So the reason why I'm doing that is that I don't want to reveal my cleavage. So if you want yours to be too revealing, you can go ahead and go down by 8 or 9 inches. So I'll draw a straight line at that point, and I'll fold over my neckline for the back this way, and I will pin it down. At the lower part, I will be going up by 2 inches. The reason why I'm doing that is that I'm going to be folding with half and half, making it 1 inch, and I'm left with 1 inch to connect at the lower part. So I'll place my ruler at the neckline of the back and connect it to that my 6 inches point at the front, and place my ruler and I will connect it to the lower part of the back this way. So this is what I have after I'm done connecting, and the next step is just to cut out the pattern. So this is what I have, and I will trace the shoulder and the armhole and also the side of the dress also. So after I'm done, I'm just going to go ahead to unpin my pattern, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. This is my back pattern, opening it, and I'm going to turn it this way and bring my front pattern and place on it. This is just to show you how your dress will be looking like when you're done sewing. So this is your wrap effect on the dress. So now we'll be stitching it together, and to stitch it, I'm going to turn it to the wrong side this way. Place the right side facing the right side and the right side facing the right side at the other part. So I'll just stitch with ½ inch at the shoulder line. So after stitching with ½ inch at the shoulder line, this is what I have. And the next step is to just fold with half and half, or fold with a pinch or a pinch, depending on whatever you want on your shoulder, and you're going to fold it round your neckline. So after I'm done folding it round, this is what I have on the dress, and this is what it's looking like. So now we'll be introducing the sleeve. So you're going to measure the total length of your sleeve. So the total length of my sleeve is 23, and I'll be adding ½ inch because I'll be adding a band to it. And I folded my sleeve with 20 inches, that's 10 inches on fold. So you can use 30. If you're doing that, that will be 15 inches on fold. So I went ahead to mark my sleeve cap height, and I went ahead to make a straight line at that point. So I'm going to be using a freehand sketch sleeve, and I'll just go ahead to measure what I have at the armhole. So you can just go ahead and place that, or you can just mark, because I want to create a little folding at the armhole, so I won't use the exact measurement I have at my armhole. So after that, I'll just go ahead and I will cut out the sleeve pattern. And don't forget also to notch your sleeve. So this is my band, and you're just going to make sure it goes round your wrist this way. And what I have is 2 pieces, and each piece is about 5 inches, which is 2.5 inch on fold. So I will be attaching it to the lower part of my sleeve. If not, if you don't want to make use of a band, you can just go ahead and sew with ½ inch at the lower part and pass your elastic at the lower part. So right now I'm going to be attaching the sleeve to the dress, and I've attached the band with ½ inch. I'm just going to go ahead and place it on it. So I'll place the right side of the sleeve on the right side of the dress, and I'm going to fold the upper part and then sew what I have remaining on the sleeve. So after I'm done sewing the sleeve, this is what I have. Now the next step is to just shape the dress. And to shape the dress, I'm just going to pin it down, hold it down with pin, and I'm going to be stitching with 1 inch. So remember, we added 1.5 inch sewing allowance, so I'll just go ahead and stitch with 1 inch. So I'll just go ahead and mark it all the way around, and also to the sleeve part also. And whatever I do on this part, I will be repeating it on the other parts of the dress. So after I'm done stitching, this is what I have on both sides of this. So I'll just go ahead and fold with ½ and ½ inch at the lower part all through the dress. So after I'm done stitching, this is what I have, and I'm going to open up my dress on the right side, and I'll measure about 1 inch upwards. And after measuring that, I'll measure about 1 inch also. So this depends on how big your rope is going to be. So I'm just going to stitch here and stitch here, and I'll open the center to pass my rope for my wrap. Now for the rope of my dress, I have 3 inches by 35. So this totally depends on what you want. You can just go ahead and make your own 2.5 inches so that it will be a lot bigger, and I'll stitch it. So after that, the next step I'm going to take is to take my rope after I'm done sewing, and I'm going to stitch it. So I'll place and stitch with 1/2 inch, and on the other side also I'm going to place and stitch with 1/2 inch. So if you want your rope to be a lot bigger than this, you can just use 2.5 inches. By the time you're done sewing, you're going to have 2 inches. So after attaching your rope, by the time you're wearing it, so this is the reason why we made that space at the lower part. You're going to be passing it from that part to the back, and you're also going to place, and you're going to also stitch here with 1/2 inch. So I'll go ahead and stitch it on the sewing machine, and after that I'll be showing you my final look. So with this, we have come to the end of today's tutorial, and this is the final look for the dress. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please hit on the subscribe button, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and see you in our next video. Thanks.